everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and welcome to my extremely late review of Episode 5 of House of the Dragon Season 2. What can I say? Life gets in the way, and then the Acolyte ends, so I gotta cover that first. I don't know. Here we go, Episode 5. And yeah, this episode really is just kind of the aftermath of the last episode of Episode 4. You know, that's where we had our big dragons fighting each other and just epicness going down. And this really is just kind of picking up the pieces of that, sometimes literally, because we have Sir Criston Cole, who is now parading around the decapitated head of the dragon, of Rhaenys's dragon. And again, House of the Dragon, I'm still struggling to keep all these names in line, but Rhaenys's dragon, they're parading that thing all through town, and they're like, this is the traitor dragon, this is the one we defeated. And I understand where they're kind of coming from, where they're like, oh, you know, we're gonna be able to tell people that we're so strong because we defeated a dragon. But it's kind of gonna backfire, because ultimately the power that the Targaryens hold is the fact that they control these dragons. And if you can show that, like, you know, if you know, to quote Iron Man 2, if God bleeds, then the shark comes, you know, like all that, right? Basically, you're gonna prove that these dragons are not invincible, they're not immortal, they're just creatures that can die like anything else. So it feels like you're kind of fighting against yourself, right? I mean, metaphorically and literally. But also, we have King Aegon, who stupidly and drunkenly went out there trying to prove something to himself and to others. And of course, his dragon went down. It's barely alive. I think it's still alive, technically. I think they say that. And his body is just a burnt, crisp, mangled thing, and he's barely anything at all. So essentially, while he's still technically alive and he is king, they're gonna have to get someone else to take his place. And, you know, lo and behold, there's his brother Aemond, the one who burnt him to a crisp, just ready and waiting to take place as King Regent. But let's be honest, he's just gonna be king now. And so we also, of course, have Alicent there, just kind of fuming, because she's like, oh, I can do this. I was this when my husband Viserys was like barely alive, and it was the same situation. But they're like, yeah, but that was peacetime. This is wartime, and you ladies can't be rulers during wartime. We need a man to do this, you know. So it's just kind of like, that's just been an overarching theme of this entire show, you know, like the common folk and a lot of these like leaders of houses and whatever, like they'll never accept a woman ruler. They just can't, right? So there we have it. We have Aemond has essentially taken the crown, and we do get an interesting conversation between and again, names, the sister wife who's one of her kids is the one who died, the one who's, you know, prophetic and seeing weird visions, and she's always just kind of strange. We get a little moment between her and Aemond where she's like, was it worth the price of getting the throne? And we don't see the end of that conversation, but I don't know. I wonder if we're ever really going to figure out what her deal is. You know, is she seeing the future? Did she know all this was going to happen? I mean, she must have to some degree. She's definitely weird. I think her and her and Alice Rivers over there that Damon's been haunted by, they would have some interesting conversations, I think. You know, I kind of want those two characters to just sit and talk and be weird. I don't know. Anyway, so that's essentially what's going on in King's Landing. Meanwhile, of course, Rhaenyra, she's like, crap, like one of our best dragon riders and one of our best dragons off the table. You know, we took a major L. That was a huge mistake, tactical error on our part. We should have realized that this was probably a trap, because there's no reason for them to go after Rook's Rest, and the only real reason they did that was to lure out a dragon, and we fell right into it. Sucks to be us. She tries to name Corlys Valerian. I'm trying with the names. She tries to name Corlys the Hand, and of course he's grieving because his wife just died. And he even tries to give his daughter, after seeing like how much fighting spirit she has, and I feel like she's about to become like a much bigger character in this show. He tries to name her heir, and she's like, oh, I'm fire and blood, you need salt and water or something to take the throne. So basically she rejects that, but she's full on being a dragon rider and being a, Valerian Targaryen, she's Daemon's son, so she's a Targaryen, right? So yeah, it works, I think, right? Do I have that right? She's Daemon's son. Yeah, she's Daemon's daughter. That's right. Anyways, these family trees, there's so much, there's so many families who like made kids, and then different people got together, and then those people made kids, and I'm like trying to keep it all straight. Anyways, so he's now the hand of the king, and I believe his name is Jace, one of the strong boys, the one that's still alive. So he went off completely on his own because he's so sick of just sitting there and not being allowed to fight, not being allowed to do anything. Remember, he wanted to be in Rhaenys' place. He wanted to go there, which, you have to imagine it would have probably ended pretty similarly. Like he would have died for sure. Anyway, so he's sick of just sitting around doing nothing just because he's the prince, because he's the heir of their side. So he takes it upon himself to go to the twins and makes a deal with the Freys, which, if you remember Game of Thrones, deal with the Freys, probably not the best thing to do, because the second you break that deal, they'll get you. I mean, yeah, they'll get you. So he promises them Harrenhal, and he promises them that Daemon's gonna protect their lands and all this stuff. That way they'll let the Starks and the Northern Army go through the twins, which is exactly why, Robb Stark wanted that location and made that deal in Game of Thrones, just so that they could get past this part quicker. Which, I guess just kind of like, to me, I'm like, all right, so you had the exact same situation and the exact same promise, hundreds of years ago, and you're telling me that in all that time nobody bothered to build an alternate route, that you don't have to go through the twins in order to like easily access the northern part to the southern part of this country here. Like, yeah, the twins is still like the best and quickest way to do this. No one's like, hey, let's build a bridge a couple miles that way, that way we don't have to keep making deals with the Freys, right? Like, this, no one wants to make a bridge there. It sure might be useful one day. Anyways, so he makes a deal with the Freys. I'm sure that's all gonna blow up in their face, but he comes back home and they're like, oh, good job, you made a deal with the Freys. And that's where they kind of start talking about, like, we do have other dragons. They're kind of just, they've been off screen the whole show. They're just down there somewhere. We just don't have riders for them. And then they start talking about like the Targaryen dynasty and our family line, and we have all this information here on Dragonstone, so we could probably find some dragon riders. There's probably some just sitting around, some bastards, right? And of course, the show has been introducing us to these bastards. Of course, we have the Hugh Hammer, right? The ironsmith, right? Or the blacksmith, who was promised all this money, and his daughter's sick, and his wife's like, hey, we're clearly not getting this money, right? Like, everyone's starving in King's Landing. There's all this unrest happening. We can't even leave the city. So, like, they're going to be more incentivized than ever to join the other side. We also remember there was that guy in the bar who claimed to be a Targaryen, and then there's two of the Valerian sons who, like, saved his life. So, like, we have, like, 4 candidates set up to become dragon riders. So, like, again, other people are gonna, this is all like set up for the next season. It feels like next season these are gonna be our main characters. And that's pretty much where that ends. Now Daemon over here, we have Daemon still sitting here at Harrenhal. Eventually, next episode, I imagine he'll finally get off of Harrenhal. He's being haunted by Alice Rivers. He's seeing all these crazy visions and dreams, and he doesn't know what's going on. Is he awake? Is he asleep? Who even knows? But he's trying to get the Brackens and the Blackwoods to stop their stupid feud, gather everyone together in the Riverlands, and get them to his side, right? And we kind of get a little bit of confirmation that, like, he wants the throne. He wants to just be called king now. Not even like king regent or king consort or whatever the hell. He just wants to be king. Just call me king. That's ultimately what he wants. But he kind of screws all this up because he tells the one guy to be like, hey, look, your ancient rivals, how about, don't say we told you to do this, but like, how about you be crazy ruthless and just burn it all down, and then they'll be forced to bend the knee to us, because they weren't willing to bend the knee even when I had a dragon sitting here. They really are ready to die, so force their hand, do whatever horrible stuff you gotta do. And of course, for whatever reason, they decided to fly Targaryen banners when they did all the horrible stuff, and it kind of blew up in their face, because now those people refuse to bend the knee to Daemon. So I don't know. All this time in Harrenhal, he's not getting anywhere with these people. These Riverland people, they're not bending the knee. So it feels like Daemon's gonna end up having to come back to Dragonstone and be like, "Hey, sorry I left. I got nowhere. I got nothing for you. Nothing happened." So I don't know. Next episode, Daemon, you better do something. You've been like sitting around this haunted castle for 3 episodes now, and you've got nothing to show for it, to be honest. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here with Daemon. Man, that's pretty much where we end the episode. This was just like the aftermath of the epic tragedy and battle, and set up for next season a lot, it feels like. And yeah, I guess we'll see this next episode what ends up happening. Daemon, you're gonna leave Harrenhal anytime? Yeah, because this witch lady, she's just messing with your head at this point. She's making you feel guilty about all kinds of stuff, making you feel bad, not letting you know if you're awake or asleep or you're sleepwalking or whatever the hell's happening in this castle. Who knows? They're pumping some kind of gas in here. I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about episode 5 of House of the Dragon. I think we got 1 episode left, I believe. And yeah, what do you hope to see? I know there's a lot of, obviously, book stuff. I try to not, like, look into spoilers if I don't have to. I'm not, like, avoiding them, but also I'm not actively Wikipediaing, like, a bunch of stuff. So I don't know when the hell Daemon's gonna do something, but he's just sitting there in this haunted castle, like, tripping out the whole time. Anyways, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.